Hi Sarah, welcome to the interview. Can you quickly introduce yourself?
My name is Sarah. I'm currently a U2 architecture student. I'm from out of province, from Newfoundland, and this is currently my third year at McGill.
Can you talk a little bit about your high school background?
Yeah, so I went to high school in Newfoundland, and coming to McGill I didn't have any advanced standing credits, so I had to do U0, which meant in architecture I had to take like some basic engineering courses like calculus and physics, as well as there's some arts courses required in the architecture program in U0.
Can you talk a little bit about your experience with the admission process?
When I was applying, you had to submit a portfolio, but I believe they've taken out that requirement. So I submitted my high school transcript and my portfolio, but I think now it's just the high school transcript.
Can you briefly describe how your program is built?
So there's about 45 people in each year, and I think they take like 15 out of province, I want to say, every year. So those 15 will do U0 and then join everyone else in U1. And in U1 is when you start like the real architecture courses and you start studio. And most courses you take are the architecture code. You have like a few electives in the first year.
Can you talk a little bit about what you study in your major, so like main topics, recurrent themes, stuff like that?
So the main course you take in architecture is our studio, which you take every semester, which is like 6 credits. And it's basically like hands-on working with a prof. It's usually like one-on-one or in teams. And you're basically working on a design project all semester. Besides that, we also take courses that are like structures, architecture history, and courses where you're like learning the softwares to apply in studio.
Can you name one thing you like and one thing you dislike about your major?
I really like the way that it's like a close-knit program because, like I said, there's like about 45 people per class, so like you take every class together, so it becomes like really good to help each other. And I also really like studio, how it's very like hands-on and very like creative, so it's like really nice to explore that. One thing I guess I dislike is there is a little bit of a learning curve, like learning the softwares each semester, so it's like once you get beyond that, things get better, but at the beginning it can be a bit frustrating.
Are there new softwares every semester, or is it just like the basics at the beginning?
It kind of varies, but yeah, most semesters, but depending on the prof it changes, but yeah, mostly at the beginning there's like a learning curve because you're learning like Rhino and Photoshop and
okay, so
Adobe
lots
Suite.
of
Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about your homework? So like what kind of homework do you have and the load of homework?
One thing is that the homework is pretty different from like U0 or high school where you're like studying for tests. Like it's very assignment based because like you're working on a studio assignment, you're working on like a digital representation assignment. So things tend to like be clustered around like the middle of the semester and the end of the semester, and it's a lot of group projects. So it's just like kind of learning a different way to do homework because it's very different. I would say like it is, as long as you stay on top of things, then it should be pretty good, but it can be intense at times. It's just kind of a different process as well because it's not really like an objective test of like right or wrong, like it's very subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give one piece of advice to a prospective student in your major?
I would say like don't be discouraged by the learning curve and also the subjectivity of architecture. Like usually you're presenting a work that's like something you created that's more like artistic, so it's something that you probably worked really hard on, and the professors will definitely like critique, but they're always like good constructive criticism, but don't be discouraged by that.
Do you find it hard to balance school and your social life?
I did find there was like a bit of a transition from U0 to U1 in second year because a lot of my friends were taking courses that had like midterms and finals, whereas mine was more like assignment based and on a very different schedule, so that was a bit of a curve. As I'm moving on through the years, like I find it's much easier to manage and you just have to plan your time very well. It honestly is very good to like have a social life in architecture because you can get caught up in the like staying in studio all the time and working really hard and like not getting enough sleep, so definitely like prioritize that because there's like a certain point where you're working on a project where sometimes you just have to like think that it's good enough and like go do something outside. Yeah.
What do you plan on doing after this degree? Do you want to continue the same direction or not? Or maybe do a master's?
For me, I do plan on doing a master's in architecture because I want to be accredited as an architect in Canada.
Can you tell us why you chose this program and why you chose McGill?
Really in high school, I was looking for something that was like a mix of math and science, but also like I wanted to keep something creative because I was really into like art, so I thought that architecture was a really nice combination. It's something that I'd always been interested in. So I was kind of guided to do that by like my art teacher and some of my other teachers, which I was really happy about. And I chose McGill because one, I wanted to live in a city, but also like researching the architecture program, it's really well regarded in Canada, and I liked how it was like a small close-knit program, so you really get to like meet one-on-one with profs, and it's very like nice in that way.
Do you have any regrets in your choice of major?
No, I don't.
That's great. Amazing. In your opinion, was it hard to adjust to university life and to your classes?
It was a little bit hard because I came from a very small place, like not small place, but yeah, in high school. Yeah. Coming to like a big city was a big difference for me, and just like I would say that U1 for me was more of an adjustment than U0, because U0 I was taking like calculus, things like that, but then U1 was like a whole different way of doing school, like in studio and like all the new software. Like that was a big adjustment, but I would say that like one thing that really helped is being in the class with like all the same people, is you're all going through the same thing and like you can all help each other out.
Okay. How is the overall vibe in your classes? Do you like being in your classes?
Yeah, I really like the vibe. Like I've met a lot of great friends, and yeah, because like I said, like you're all going through the same thing, and there's a lot of group projects in architecture, so like in studio you're often working like really closely with someone else on a design project that's like every day of the week. So you really get to know your classmates, which is really nice. And also at McGill they have, I think that's really cool, it's called sketching school. So in the summer after U1 there is a location that's chosen, and you go for 1 week, and it's like a summer field course, and you're like drawing in watercolor, which is really fun. And that was a really good like bonding experience, I feel like, for our class.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for the interview.
Thank you.